do you think of Trump's Iran strike so far?
I'm totally against it.
Would you call it an illegal war? Because some people are calling it that because he doesn't have congressional approval.
Yeah, I think it's probably a legal war.
Some people are calling this an illegal war. Would you agree that it's illegal?
I would say, yeah. I'd say it was a bit of a breach in power by the president, for sure.
A lot of people are saying that it's an illegal war because he didn't get congressional approval.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
So this was the Trump administration's justification, very short and vague. I just want to get your reaction to it. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force on Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Is that convincing to you?
No, not even the slightest. No, it's ridiculous.
What if I told you this was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
Is this like the point is you're trying to find people to get into...
Well, we're just trying to see if people are consistent with their criticism of Trump and then the Obama administration before him doing effectively the same thing. Hey guys, this is Matt Miller with Politbrawl. Over the weekend, Bill Maher completely caught Adam Schiff off guard when he asked him to respond to President Trump's justification for attacking Iran. Turns out it was actually Obama's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months without congressional approval.
This statement from the administration: the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. That's too vague for you?
Totally vague.
Okay, because that's from Obama about Libya.
Well,
We're going to ask people here in Washington, D.C. the same question. Respond to President Trump's justification for attacking Iran. Oops, no, it's actually Obama's justification for attacking Libya. Let's see if they have any consistency on this issue at all or if they're just Trump deranged. What do you think of Trump's Iran strike so far?
I'm totally against it
Why are you against him?
because I don't think he had any foresight in what he was doing. He anticipated the repercussions and what's going to happen. Unless something happens soon, I think it could lead to a world war.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Would you call it an illegal war? Because some people are calling it that because he doesn't have congressional approval.
Well, it's certainly extrajudicial. Yeah, I think it's probably a legal war.
It was a completely made-up crisis that Trump did, and it's tanked the economy, tanked oil prices, and it was completely ill thought out. There was no exit strategy at all, and Hegseth is like a teenage boy.
Well, a lot of people are saying that it's an illegal war because he didn't get congressional approval.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
I work in a Democratic office. I agree that Iran does pose a threat if they do get a nuclear weapon, but I just think the method in which they went about the strikes is a bit impulsive.
Okay.
I do think something needs to be done, but in a different way, potentially.
Do you think he should seek congressional approval?
Yes, I do, 100%.
And some people are calling this an illegal war. Would you agree that it's illegal?
I would say, yeah. I'd say it was a bit of a breach in power by the president, for sure.
Do you think he should seek congressional approval, and is it illegal if he doesn't?
100%. Past wars, we did, it was expected to seek congressional approval.
Do you think that he should seek congressional approval? Would you say that there...
Of course, he should have done it from the beginning.
Some are calling this an illegal war. Would you agree with that? Do you think it's illegal?
I do believe in our Constitution it says that he needs to ask Congress for permission.
So this was the Trump administration's justification, very short and vague. I just want to get your reaction to it. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force on Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Is that convincing to you?
No, not even the slightest. No, it's ridiculous. And it was completely like Bibi Netanyahu's dream to do it, and we just, fell into line, to say nothing of whatever the Russians have on Trump. So
absolutely. What if I told you this was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
Oh, well.
Was that an illegal war too, you think?
Probably. I mean, without congressional justification, I think, Congress has been completely neutered, so, yeah.
You think Obama was guilty of the same infractions that Trump's committing now?
I'd have to go back and see what the issue was with Libya and Gaddafi and kind of where things stood and what the stated goal was and how long it took, but possibly.
Possibly. Well, he definitely didn't get congressional approval, so he circumnavigated the judicial system for that.
Yeah. I mean, the executive has the authority to do certain limited actions with congressional approval. I don't know if Libya, was there ever a congressional approval after the fact?
No.
No war powers?
No.
Okay.
So that would kind of fall in the same category as what Trump's doing now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
Limited actions on Iran to...
Not really. No, I don't think so. But, I mean, is this like the point is you're trying to find people to get into...
Well, we're just trying to see if people are consistent with their criticism of Trump and then the Obama administration before him doing effectively the same thing.
Yeah, this is not the same thing, though. I mean, it's not.
Why not?
Because what is this? I mean, what is the exact stated exit strategy? What is the stated goal? Not that statement. Like, what is the actual stated goal?
To get rid of their nuclear capabilities and take out the Ayatollah, which he already did.
Right, which he already did, which has, and then with, the obliteration, the self-proclaimed obliteration 6 months ago, there was no real threat as determined by multiple different security agencies that, and after the fact, said there was no imminent threat by Iran right now to the United States.
Okay.
So,
If this was the Trump administration's justification, I want to get your reaction. Basically, this is what he said was the reason for the strikes. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force on Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Does that sound convincing to you?
No, of course not. He has, as you observed, he has not gotten congressional approval. He's taken upon the responsibility upon himself to make that decision without, without going through the proper authorizations.
Okay. Well, what if I told you that this was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
Well, then that was perfectly okay.
What, do you think so? Was that illegal and was that dangerous?
I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't remember enough about that to really offer an opinion on it. But
2011, yep.
yeah.
Do you think that was an illegal war?
I just told you I don't remember enough about it to offer an opinion on it.
Okay.
I would have to know more about it and refresh my memory, and I don't remember.
Yeah, he conducted strikes in Libya, bombings, cut off the entire airspace for 7 months, killed a lot of people without congressional approval. Similar situation, perhaps?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how many times I have to tell you. I don't know. I'm not going to offer an opinion on something that I really only vaguely remember.
The administration's justification for this is from their office, or this is their statement. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound convincing?
It seems a bit vague, but I guess.
Yeah, definitely vague.
Yeah, I'm not really entirely convinced, but...
Well, what if I told you that's actually Obama's justification for going into Libya and bombing Libya for 7 months?
Oh, really?
Do you think that was an illegal war? Should he have gotten constitutional authority for that?
I would say yes. Yes, he should have.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the administration's justification for the strikes, and I just want to get your reaction to it. It's very short. The president has the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Iran because he reasonably determined that such use of force is in the national interest. Does that sound convincing to you?
Well, considering what kind of a president he is, I don't think he should have the authority to do much of anything.
Okay.
At any rate, I do think he needs to ask Congress.
He needs to ask Congress. What if I told you that was the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months? Was that war illegal, you think?
I'm in today, and I'm not sure that was an issue then.
Were you against?
I'm really in today and looking to have things
Right.
save our democracy, having things get back to, a normal kind of...
Yeah, well, just looking at historical precedent for the sake of consistency, were you against when Obama bombed Libya and Pakistan and other countries without congressional approval?
I don't know the particulars. I do believe that a president can use military force for 90 days. I don't know how long those wars were or whatever you're talking about. I think they were military strikes. This is a definite war. Even Trump called it a war.
Yeah, but those were strikes in Libya. It was for 7 months. They bombed Libya. They created a no-fly zone over the entire country. without congressional approval.
Okay. I'll still say I'm living in today, and today is my concern.
His administration's justification for it, some people are saying it was kind of vague and didn't really make any sense. What he said was, whoops, this is blowing around. The president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. Does that seem like a good justification for you?
It really doesn't, no. I mean, it seems like a kind of an umbrella way of just saying we had a right to do it. I think refusal to really go deeper into like why they felt the need to do so, and the fact that they're sending a lot of mixed answers out right now on what pushed them to do so is very questionable.
What if I told you that was actually the Obama administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months back in 2011?
Actually, so great catch with that, but not that I necessarily agree with that too. I remember taking a national security law course. I'm still a student right now, and a lot of the justifications that like past presidents have pushed forward in the past, have been very unstable and not necessarily supportive in terms of what the American people would want.
You think it was illegal when Obama bombed Libya?
I can't pull off the top of my brain the justification for those situations in that time and the information. I just don't have like...
This was the justification. That was all he gave. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. I need to take a very quick break to tell you about this video's sponsor, Golden Crest. Consider this. What would a 38% market drop do to your retirement? Not the market, your retirement. If you have $500,000 in a 401k, that's $190,000 gone. If you're close to retirement, you don't have decades to recover from that. Right now, U.S. debt just crossed $38 trillion. Foreign governments are reducing reliance on the U.S. dollar. Central banks are buying gold at record levels. Some analysts are modeling a 30 to 40% reset if current pressures collide. Markets don't send warnings, they move fast. Meanwhile, JP Morgan now sees gold at $6,300 with a path toward $8,000 if allocation trends continue. How exposed is your IRA? Our friends at Golden Crest Metals have released a free 2026 info guide explaining what a major reset could mean for retirement accounts, why debt and dollar pressure matters right now, and how gold and silver can be added to an IRA or 401k tax advantage and penalty free. If you haven't stress tested your retirement, now may be the time. Call 888-814-7262 now or go to goldencrestmetals.com. Protect what you've earned. Now back to the video. Do you want him to get a congressional approval if he's going to continue this?
Not only that, I think the Constitution should be respected.
Okay.
Because when things start breaking down, then somebody else is going to come along and then they're going to do whatever they want to do. And then before we know, we're not going to have a country.
Absolutely.
And so it's just setting a bad example.
Can I get your reaction? This was the administration's justification for their strikes. This is a statement from them. They said, the president had the constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Iran because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest. What do you think about that justification?
I have a hard time believing anything the president says. He lies too much. And so I don't think he has that justification. If he did, I don't think he will have a problem coming to Congress and getting permission or doing whatever the Constitution tells us to do in order to do whatever he needs to do.
Absolutely. What if I told you that this is actually President Obama's administration's justification for bombing Libya for 7 months?
I am an independent minded man. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. And so if that is Obama who did that, I will also disagree with that.
You think he should have sought congressional approval? Was it an illegal war when he bombed Libya?
Let me go back and try to think about that. But if he didn't get congressional approval, that was illegal.
Well, at the time when Obama was bombing Libya, we didn't see the kind of pushback that we're seeing against Trump's Iran strikes. Why do you think that is?
Well, then again, we didn't have a president lie so many times and do things that this president has done so many times.
We haven't really had a constitutionally approved war since, I think, World War II.
Oh, yeah.
So we've seen kind of decades and decades of presidents doing this military action. Why are we seeing this pushback now nationally against Trump's Iran strikes when we didn't see this kind of national uproar in the past? Maybe since Vietnam. That was a big uproar, obviously.
Yeah, I'd say that's a very good point. I just think there's a lot of disapproval for the current administration, and I think that's a big part of it. Is that, yeah, I think that's just a big part of it. And I agree that in the past there have been many decisions made by both Republican and Democratic leaders that have they did things without congressional approval, and I think they should have. I think it's important to go into something like war with a plan and with backing and approval. And yeah, while I'm from a Democratic state and Democratic office, I think that this isn't something that only the Trump administration has done. I think something should be done about it for the future.
What other administrations have done something about it?
None. Done something about fixing this?
Yeah, the Ayatollah oppressing people, killing his own citizens.
Oh, what has been done about that?
Yeah, what other presidents have done something about that other than Trump?
I don't know, none. I couldn't name any.
You think it's a good thing that the Ayatollah was taken out?
Yes, 100%.
Do you think it was good that Trump took out the Ayatollah?
I thought Israel did that.
I think Trump administration working with Israel as our ally did that.
My understanding is that Netanyahu's forces took out the Ayatollah.
Okay, was that good?
I think probably, there's positives and negatives to that. I don't think the whole thing should have started.
Okay.
It's like, kicking a hornet's nest as far as the Middle East, as I'm seeing it. He made it sound like, oh, it's imperative to do this. I had to do it, but I don't think he did.
You think that there could be positive outcomes like liberating the Iranian people from an oppressive regime?
Not when the son of the old guy is back and supposedly he's even more hardcore.
Well, maybe we'll take him out too, shortly.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Why do you think there wasn't as much pushback back then when Obama bombed Libya as there is now when Trump is attacking Iran?
Say that one more time? Sorry.
Why do you think there wasn't as much national pushback and uproar back then when Obama did it, but now there is when Trump's bombing Iran?
I guess you could just go back to the fact that we have a president in office right now who doesn't really follow a lot of legal justifications in terms of pursuing different actions, whether that's closing different agencies. Yeah, it's just in terms of professionalism. You see one president who's a little more professional in their work in the past, and then you see this guy now.
Okay. You think Trump's track record is worse, so that's why people are more upset now that he's attacking Iran? I mean, do you care about the people in Iran that were living under this oppressive regime?
Oh, I definitely do. It can be a fair argument to say that it's important to target that negative regime and ensure that these people receive liberation. But I mean, we did see that, 115 schoolgirls were killed in one of these strikes, as well as a bunch of other innocent civilians. The lives of children being lost. I don't think there's any way to justify that.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrible. But under the Ayatollah, he was murdering tens of thousands of his own people. He was oppressing women, right? I mean, we care about women's rights. So it might take this initial revolution or this American intervention to help free those people so that they can live in peace.
That's a fair point. Right. I definitely do think that President Trump could have, like you were mentioning earlier, Congress could have been involved in conversations and there could have been more targeted strikes if that's what they wanted to go towards. It's just, I don't know if the planning for this was what it could have been.
Okay, gotcha. All right, guys, thank you for getting to this point in the video. If you watched this far, you're a real one. Turns out a lot of these people have that ideologically captured view that Trump using his executive authority to attack Iran is different than Obama using his executive authority without Congress's approval to attack Libya. Now, we all know how Libya turned out, and let's hope that Iran doesn't end up like that. But I think that it's not a lot to ask for to have moral consistency on this issue. If you're against Trump strikes, you should have been against Obama strikes in Libya or in Pakistan or the other countries that he bombed without congressional approval, or any of the other presidents throughout the Cold War that did this. Of course, they didn't. They quietly supported or were at least silent on that when Obama did it. We didn't see this national uproar when other presidents in the past did the same exact thing. We know that this is being used as a weapon against President Trump. And as we head into the midterms this year, we all know what the true reason is behind that. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.